All right, I put us on recording. But you're right. But my wide receiver did the same thing that Howie's wide receiver did. Howie, did your wide receiver have a high volatility?
Uh, I don't know. I think it was pretty low. Let me take a look. I got mine pulled up here, but I'm pretty sure that his was low. Yeah, volatility low, 39.
That's what it is now. Are you sure that's what it was then?
Yeah, it was the same. It didn't change, which is why it surprised me so much.
Because mine, as you can see, dismal.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yes,
that's
it
as bad
does.
as it gets there. That's when you want to just beat your fist on your computer and
I forgot to look at the volatility, and I drafted him not looking at that.
so if you'd have seen that, you wouldn't have taken him?
Not that high. I would have done it later on. I would have never taken a chance that way.
With that volatility, though, he could pop next year.
Let's hope.
It's possible,
Yeah, right.
but I don't know. I mean, you're
I got-
asking for a lot to bounce back from that kind of a drop.
I'm just going to play him. I'm going to play him and as a
Yeah, you don't have much choice.
no, I'm serious. I'm going to play him as my third receiver, and hopefully he gets enough experience and enough playing time that he does pop next year. If not,
And you should do the same with the QB.
I tried. Yes, I'm going to do the same thing with the QB.
I mean, you never know for sure. But, I mean, I'm not playing my rookie QB. He's done.
All right, guys. Grim thought of a great idea to do some predictions on our league and just talk about everyone's team. And what we can do is we can start in the AC North and work our way over.
Okay.
I know we have Howie's on from the Sharks. Haynes is supposed to be joining us. We got Brother Grimm and Red Zone. And we can start with Toronto. And basically, I put last year's season records up.
Yeah, I would just go down the division roads. I mean, if we go down each team, that's 32 teams. We'll be on here for 3 hours.
No, we'll do divisions, of course, AC North and stuff. So, Grim, you want to go first since it was your idea?
As far as, man, this is a tough division, dude. It just really is. Just looking at everybody's rosters, I mean, Rob has that young QB coming up. He's got wide receivers. It just with him, I think it's going to be for Rob. I think it's going to be how much time he has this season to put into the game. But then you look at Harlem, man. XCOM's got Terrence Joyner's been there for years. He's got great cohesion. He's got a great wide receiver. So, and then Search, you can't count him out because his defense is always just great. But his offense is kind of, seems to be a little bit hurt. Well, maybe not. God, man. I think it's either going to be Harlem or Toronto that wins this division this year. One of those two. I guess I'm more leaning towards Toronto because of what he did last year. But Harlem I could see sneaking way up there.
Howie, you want to take a shot at it?
I think that it's Toronto's division to lose. I think that his quarterback played great his rookie season. You don't typically see that in rookie quarterbacks. They tend to play okay in times and play like rookies at times. And I think that he's got something special in that QB. I think they're going to ride him to another division title.
How about you, Red Zone? What do you think?
I'm with Howie. I think that's Toronto's division to lose, but there's two things that are going to be very key. If you look at Toronto's team, I forget who it was that was on the show the last time. In fact, it was XCOM who said it. He said he had a good team before he got the QB.
Yep.
The QB just made it, put him over the top. Now, I went and looked. He's got a lot of affinities. His cohesion is solid. He's got veteran players in key positions. If that QB doesn't have a sophomore slump, yeah, I think it's his division to lose. But I still think that Harlem and XCOM are a playoff team in a wild card spot. So I think the two of them will be there. And Harlem may give him a little more trouble than he wants if that QB struggles in year 2.
Okay. I'm going with Rochester. I like his quarterback. I think Rochester can take it. Then followed by Toronto, then followed by Harlem. The only problem is with Rochester is that his cohesion is low on his passing, but so is Toronto. They're right side by side from each other. I just feel like Rochester might take it this year for some reason. That's my take. So Rochester, Toronto, Harlem, and North Plainfield. That's how I'm looking at it. All right, the next one is the South.
That's tough, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You're picking North Plainfield last. I mean, that's a hell of a team to be finishing last.
I agree, because his defense is always just top notch.
I mean, that's like picking, the Buccaneers to finish last in their division this year after winning the Super Bowl last year. I mean, maybe not quite like that, but I mean, it's a similar thing. This is a good GM with a really great defense, and we're picking him last. I mean, that's hard to do.
He's in a tough division. He's got 3 other guys in there that have a good team.
Yep.
That's the thing. If he was in a different division with his defense, all he needs to do is get his offense going.
I just thought it was interesting that you look at his team, and I mean, everybody in the league has talked about his defense sooner or later at some point. I've seen it in posts, game day posts, preseason talk. I mean, we've talked about it on the show. I mean, it's no secret that his defenses are always really good. And
yeah, but look,
you're picking him fourth. I'm just laughing. I'm like, wow, how can it be? But I agree. But it still just makes me kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, how?
I'm looking at his quarterback, Landon Rhodes. I mean, if you look at him, what he has for ratings, and then the QB ratings he's had. Last year was 61%. The year before was 60.4%. I mean, I think in order for him to get to the top of that division, he's going to have to fix that QB play for sure.
Yeah, he's got to complete more passes and get that QBR up and move the chains a little bit more.
Well, look at his interceptions to touchdowns, 18 to 25, and then last year 11 to 20.
Yep, not good.
Well, I got a guy he can have.
Sound like a UFO.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Red Zone?
I got a guy he can make a deal for. I don't know if it'll be allowed.
Who, Brady Ladner?
I'm about ready to get off the train. I mean, I can go 6-10 without him.
Let's see. He's got aging receiver. He's got one good one right here.
Yeah, I was looking through his wide receivers. He doesn't have much. He's got him. That tight end he drafted, Tyrus White, looks like he could turn into a good player, which gives him another weapon to throw to. But his receiving core is not what I would call stellar. Well, Benton's not bad, but
one of the things that he's done is invested heavily on defense and not near as much on offense. So maybe this draft he needs to kind of change that philosophy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got
yes.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying I think it's interesting. I mean, this is the 4th place team? Damn.
Oh, yeah, like we said, tough division. So, but I'm going to stay with my picks. That's how I'm keeping it. What do you think about the South, guys? You got Houston, Fort Wayne, San Antonio, and Atlanta.
Graham?
I think Zach's going to take that one this year, man.
You think
he brought Eli on board. He's got. I mean, it only took him a couple seasons to get what he needs, and Zach's really got defense this time around, where I don't remember him having great defenses when he had Kansas and Toronto earlier on. I mean, look at that fucking defense. Just insane, pardon my French. But now he's got great O-line, and he's got the quarterback he wants, and now he has 3 or 4 really good wide receivers. And that's exactly what he looks for when he's building his team. So, I mean, I think he's going to be a madman this season. I really do. But I don't want to discount defense either, because they got a great defense. So, yeah, and Cracklin Wright's been there for, 4 or 5 years now. He's got a couple good wide receivers. Doesn't have any running backs, but I don't know how much he wants to run this year.
Probably not much.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't like to run.
Yeah, so I'm really... But then, Swing Dog just took over Atlanta again. And, he's a good GM. But I just don't think he's quite there yet. And I'm still pissed about the Harold Norris thing. I let him go to free agency and thought that I would just, lollygag around and not bid much money on him, because no one ever takes my quarterbacks when they go to free agency, And fucking lo and behold, he outbid me on him by like $2 million. I mean, if you look at the website, it doesn't look great in game. But on the website, this guy's sitting 46 out of 61. So I'm not picking Atlanta to win just because that pissed me off.
That's right. Quite.
But no, yeah. Yeah, I think Fort Wayne on top, Houston, Atlanta before San Antonio. Because San Antonio just hasn't had the team for very long either, I don't believe.
I think time's an issue with him, too.
Yeah. And then Jonathan Freeman, another good quarterback that just... Last year, man, 63.6 rating. The year before didn't even really play. I don't know how. It's just one of those good guys that no one can seem to get rolling here,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 63.6. 18 interceptions, 14 touchdowns.
He's got a great running back, so I would probably lean on that a little bit. Tight ends, okay. He doesn't have any wide receivers, really. So that's going to be a problem. But, yeah, so I think for me, I would go, I just want to go Fort Wayne, Houston, Atlanta, and then San Antonio.
Red zone?
I would have to agree. I think, much like we said, the North is Toronto's to lose. I think the South is T-Zac's to lose. He's got the pieces in place. I've always felt like he was a better defensive game planner than he got credit for. And, it's hard to pick against him at this point. With the help from Elgin, too. And they're going to be on top of everything between the two of them. They're not going to miss anything. They're going to be on top of special teams. They're going to be on top of everything. So, from what I can tell, I don't know that he has a zillion affinities yet. I don't remember the last time I looked at his team, but it didn't strike me as having 30. But I think he's headed in that direction too. So once that all gels and clicks, I don't think cohesion will stop him, whether he's got it or not. Second place, that's tough. I guess you go with Houston, like Grim said. I like Sween Dog. I don't know what Atlanta's got. I haven't looked at their team that closely, but I would think he'd be in the hunt sooner or later. San Antonio is struggling right now with talent, and I think he's struggling with time spent on the game. So those two things added together doesn't give you much chance against T-Zac. Let's put it that way.
How about you, Howie?
I'm looking through some of this stuff here, and I'm gonna go with Houston again. I'm looking at the points against for Fort Wayne. They let up more points than anybody in that division. So we talk about T-Zac and his game planning and how he knows defense a little bit better. And I agree to an extent he does, but I don't think his defense is that great. As great as you think it's going to be this year. I think he's Fort Wayne will get in on the wild card, but I still think that it's Houston's division. looking through all the affinities, looking through their roster, looking at their defense. I think it's going to come down. They might have identical records again, and it might come to a tiebreaker. But I think it's going to be Houston takes the division, and Fort Wayne's going to be that first wild card team for me. And then San Antonio, Atlanta. I think that division stays the same in my mind. Houston 1, Fort Wayne, San Antonio. I'll go with Atlanta in the third place. I think you're right with that one. So Houston, Fort Wayne, Atlanta, San Antonio.
I have to agree with Howie. I think Houston too. Houston has a better cohesion. They put up points. They allow a little bit of points. The last 3 games of the year, they beat Fort Wayne 41-28, 36-21, Capital City, Atlanta. Well, that's their own division, but I think they're a better team. And like Howie said, I think it's going to wind up the same way. Houston, Fort Wayne, San Antonio, and Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta's there yet because they just got the quarterback. It's not going to be ready yet. And that's how I think it goes.
Just to touch on something Howie said, I'm counting 6 starters on defense for Fort Wayne that are 60 or better overall currently, and 11 future. 11 players, 6 of them starters right now. That's some pretty good defensive talent.
Yeah, but
my scout isn't the greatest, so you can argue, a couple points, but 71 defensive end, 61 defensive tackle, 76 middle linebacker, 79 strong side linebacker, 79 corner, and 66 free safety. That's 6 over 60 right now. That's some talent. I don't have that. I don't think any of us does.
Nope. He has a defense. They just got those players, correct?
I'm sorry?
They just got those players this
I'm
season?
not sure how long they've been there exactly.
I'm looking at it now. So 79 linebacker, Derek Lanner. He's in his 3rd year. Their strong side linebacker, Madaragri. He's in his 4th year. He's a 59. Giovanni Peterson, their inside linebacker. He's in his 2nd year. He's a 75.
You're seeing Lanner is 59?
There's one 59. I got a 79, 59 linebacker, 51 linebacker, 67
I got a 79
linebacker.
strong side and a 76 middle. Unless my scout's horrible.
I have 76 as well. For Peterson?
Yeah, Peterson's a 75.
I'm seeing 79 for Lanner.
Yep, I got a 79 for Lanner.
And 64 for, how do you say this? Kawaguchi? I just think there's more talent there than people realize.
True.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah, Hitchcock is 78, cornerback.
And Nugent, the safety?
Nugent, 66.
And left defensive end Burrows?
Oh, Jesus. Making me go back now. 71.
That looks like some talent to me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
I'm
see
still
this
going with
season.
Houston, though.
Same here.
Red Zone might be right, but I'm not changing my pick now just out of spite. Thanks, Grim.
I like it, Howie. Stick to your guns.
Now let's go into Ben's league division, the East.
Oh, I wonder who will win that.
I don't know about that.
Well,
Ben's quarterback has aged.
But he's down from 3 leagues down to 1. He's got more time.
Here's his 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be making a change. He's going to ride Muff all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
As would most of us.
Well, that division is always a a cutthroat division. But I always like Augusta. I liked them last season, and I like how they're coming up. I think the other season before that, yeah, they're right within. They're right within the same range. I think Augusta's going to take this division.
And then who?
And then I think Orlando, and then Tucker.
Wow, picking Tucker out of the playoffs.
Yes.
There's no fucking way, dude.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the thing.
Brian was already in the forums earlier this season talking about how his team just completely crapped out on him. Go look at his offense, man. He's got no tight ends. He's got no wide receivers left. You know, got some good young guys coming up on O-line and one old guy. Yeah, I mean, I could see him taking second again. I think the division probably pans out just exactly the way it did this time, except maybe Augusta doesn't make the playoffs this year.
Red Zone, you think the same?
I think if you look at last year's standings, the thing that really stands out to me is the points allowed by Tucker. His defense really slipped.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what he's done to address that, but if he's done anything to fix that, he's going to be right back again at 12-4, 13-3, and taking that division. And my money would be on Ben. Like I said, especially going from 3 leagues down to 1, that gives him more time to look at one team. That's bad news for the people in his division, in my opinion. I think Brian's going to be right there. I think Augusta's always going to be right on his heels, giving him hell. But he hasn't got the team right now to get past him, I don't think. Not quite yet. Orlando and Snapfinger will be probably around the same. I mean, neither one of them has a bad squad. But look at the teams they're playing. I mean, it's kind of the same thing as the AC North. I mean, somebody has to finish fourth in that division. Who's it going to be? Well, I mean, you take Snapfinger or Orlando and put them in another division where it wasn't quite so fierce. They might be maybe trying to get a wild card, but in that division, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, Orlando's just got that young quarterback right now, second-year guy, and not a whole lot to throw to. I mean, he's got a young tight end that looks okay, a couple of young wide receivers that are okay. His oldest wide receiver is 48, on the website. Yeah, just D-line's okay. When he's coming up, but I don't think he's there this season.
Not yet.
No, he's not. That's why I still think. See, he gives up a lot of points, Tucker, Ben, and he relied on his offense, and we talked about this. He puts up a lot of points. If he's not putting up points, okay, and his defense is giving up a lot of points, he's not going to win many games until he gets that quarterback again. Unless Mutt just can continue to give him 30, 40 touchdowns that he always does. But sooner or later, the train ends. Look at 41, 31. Do you think he's going to put up another 40 points with his 40 touchdowns with this quarterback?
He's got the receivers for it and the game plan, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's once it's in place, even with a little bit of ratings drop, performance doesn't change that much.
Yep.
Where's Howie at?
Howie?
I'm here. My computer. I'm here. I'm a little sluggish tonight. You can't pick against Tucker. You can't. As much as last season was kind of a hiccup with him, and you look at some of the ratings and the age of some of his players, you think, God, is this the time they kind of drop down? Until he does, you can't bet against him. So I think that it's still Tucker's division. And I think that Augusta's going to be the second wild. Augusta's my second wild card team. I think Augusta's going to have another solid season, trying to keep pace with Ben. But I think that they'll take that number 2 wild card, and I still think Snapfinger is going to be the bottom of the division. So that leaves Orlando in third. I was just looking through Snapfinger's roster. I mean, he leaves a lot of money on the table and doesn't go after any kind of big name free agents. Looking at his roster, I think there's only a handful of guys that are free agents. They're all drafted players. I don't know what his team building philosophy is. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, what's he? I just closed it down. What does he have? He's got 183 million dollars in cap space.
Yeah, mostly
and
rookies,
no dead money.
Rookies and
Yeah.
second-year players.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot of money to be leaving sitting there.
I mean, Stan Schultz is a solid quarterback. You know, I show him as a 66. I mean, God, he had the first round pick for several seasons in a row. His receiving core is solid. He's got a receiver at 64, another receiver at 52. He's got a rookie receiver that's at 35, 62. But I don't know. I don't know what his line of thought is, but I don't look at that team and think it's going to be anything more than a 7-9 team.
Yeah, this team is very young.
This will be a fun one.
Maybe he thought that if he went into free agency, he couldn't put enough together to make a team. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
but
what
you
his,
don't-
maybe that's what his thinking is.
But
I
you
don't know,
don't
but
sit
he-
with 183 million in cap room and not spend it. Every year?
He's always carried that much money. I think I always noticed that he's got a whole boatload of cap space. Every single year I kind of look through and see where kind of teams are and where I kind of gauge myself on my cap space. He always has a ton of cap space that he never spends.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
180 million you didn't spend. I mean, that's how many people did spend that much? I mean, that's a lot of money.
Well, I have $540 million left, so. All right, so that's the take.
The West will be fun.
That's going to be a good one. Look at this already. 97979788. Brother Grimm, your honors. Grimm? I guess he stepped out.
Yeah, I'm back.
That's okay. You want to take the West?
Oh, the West. Oh, you mean Europe? All right. God. So, what were the standings last year? God, that's a tight one, man. This one's going to be impossible, dude.
It might finish just like it did. Different teams with the same kind of records.
Yeah, I'm close with that, and I don't. This one is so tight, I wouldn't even know where to pick. I mean, Gothenburg, Julio's always got that shit running tight. Just a great roster there. Maybe a little lacking on running back this year, which probably he doesn't like much. But, I mean, who's this Jose Davis guy? What's he look like? Well, it's got the right bars, power inside, hole recognition, a little soft on the endurance, but Marty Forland still playing for Paris, so
Yep.
There's cohesion there. Mass Lewis, I mean, it actually looks kind of like their defense is on the soft side where Matt usually has great defenses.
He's been
But his
drafting
offense
wide
is-
receivers the last couple of years, like Matt Millen.
Yeah, his offense is beautiful. I mean, the O-line, the wide receivers, lacking on tight end, but he's never been a huge tight end guy in my memory. Torfy's in his second year. I mean, what's wrong with Ernest Ashley? You look at him.
He's always had trouble with him. He struggles.
Yeah. Yeah, 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year.
And he's got two really good receivers.
Yeah, exactly. But they're young, you know. They got to develop. I mean, I don't think he's on the high end of cohesion right now. Oh, Oh man,
Be interesting to see what kind of offense he runs. Let me see what his coordinator is. Did he change?
he's smash mouth again. He's going to try to make that work.
Really?
Yep. But I mean, I think isn't that what Ben's been playing too? No, Ben's running West Coast this year, but I thought last year it was smash mouth.
I thought it was Earhart Perkins.
Oh, one of those. I don't know.
Not sure. I don't
God,
remember.
but then
for a
you
fact.
look at Bordeaux. You got Walt Check, 10 years in, and it doesn't seem like Elf has been able to get him rolling real good either.
Well, these 3-week vacations can't be helping out.
Yeah, that's true.
You just
I wish
signed
I,
him.
had, I wish I had 3 weeks vacation.
I know you re-signed him again.
Yeah. Yeah, but last year, 15 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, 68.3 rating. I mean, if you look at the rest of his freaking roster, man, I mean, he's
This is 2 receivers.
decent running back. He's got a couple decent receivers, good tight end. The O-line's monster. He's got a pretty solid defense, too. I just don't know who I would pick for this. Man. I'd like to see Matt Lewis win it just because, Matt's been trying real hard and struggling the last, however many seasons it's been. But I almost think Gothenburg retakes this. And then it looks the way it does. Everyone just pretty much 10-6, 9-7, 8-8. But yeah, I'm going to call Gothenburg on this one, I think.
Okay. Mateo's Merchantman. His defense still not there yet. If you look at the line's not there. He's only got 1 lineman. His middle linebackers are not there. He's got 2 guys in secondary. And that's about it. It's his offense where he's got everybody. He's got the offensive line. He's got the wide receivers. And he's just got to get his quarterback going. And he's got the running back. So he needs to put up points, which he did not do last year, as you can see, 294.
Yep.
But his defense, which I'm shocked, 285, but they're not here. So he's doing something magical with these guys.
Yeah, probably cohesion, man. I mean,
I think, like you, Grim, Gothenburg. I think Gothenburg, and if Mateo can get his merchantmen going, I think he'll take second. However, I see Paris, they put up 375 points last year. Go with Gothenburg, Paris, and then Merchantman. That's what I'm going to say. And Bordeaux will be last.
yeah, like I said, almost impossible to call that one, man.
How about you, Howie? Tough one, right?
Oh, it's a toss-up for sure. But I'm gonna buck the trend. I'm gonna go with Bordeaux as taking that division. I don't know why. I think that that they're due. I'm kind of going through their roster, trying to look at their cohesion here. But I think that they're going to beat up on each other. At the end of the season, the record is I think going to be the same thing: 9-7, maybe a 10-6. Everyone's going to be right around there. I don't see a wild card coming out of this division, but I think it's going to be Bordeaux. I think it's going to be Paris. I think it's going to be Bordeaux, Gothenburg, Paris, and then I agree with kind of your take on Massis Louis. Until Matt gets his offense turned around and can show that he can do it consistently, I don't think that he's gonna. I think he's gonna struggle for the next couple of seasons as he kind of builds that cohesion. I think once he gets his cohesion down, I think he's got all the tools offensively to be an explosive offense, but I just don't think he's there yet.
You see, Julio, he's got his quarterback, Pierce, playing. He's the only one in that division that's doing something with his quarterback. Everyone else's quarterback is iffy. They're not playing him right.
Yeah, and Pierce was injured for a bit last season too, and that really screwed him.
Yes, it did. I remember
So-
that. He was pissed because look at Ches, 68.3 quarterback rating, 15 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. That's not going to win you a division.
No.
And let's go, Mateo, Merchant Man. 72.4%. I mean, quarterback rating, 6.9 average per throw, 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And that's what I'm saying. If he can figure out his quarterback with those receivers, he can claim. But he's not going to take Julio.
No, Pierce had a 92.1 rating last year, man.
And what did let's see, Bardell. Did we look at Bardell? We did. Paris. Okay. 26 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. All right. It's a lot better than the other other two quarterbacks that's in that division. I think that's why, by the way, this division's so close. Because everyone's quarterback outside of Julio's is playing the same.
Yeah, and I don't think, I mean, you think Chandler Ferguson can get another 2,000 yards this season? I mean, he, in 2098, 524 carries, 2,500 yards, 19 touchdowns, and then another 470 carries, 2,000 yards last year. I mean, I think the wheels are going to fall off this fucking dude soon.
So if that happens, then Paris is fallen. Because that's their offense.
Yep. I will see. I mean, God, he's still got a good O-line, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's decent. Yeah, he's got a good low O-line.
Yeah, it's
his guard
decent.
his guard is not there. Well, he's got this guard right here. All right. So everyone's except for Howie. Everyone's on Gothenburg.
Nope.
Oh,
You didn't ask me yet.
No, Red Zone needs to answer yet.
I didn't read. Go Red Zone.
I think everybody said this. I'm going to say it again. This is really tough.
Yes.
I've been sitting here going down rosters while you guys were talking and looking at this and looking at that, comparing this and comparing that. I mean, someone said that they felt like Mass Luis didn't have the defense yet. But I think if you pull up some of them, especially as defensive backs, they may not have the overall ratings. They've got bars if he's got the right system in place.
Yeah.
I don't use defensive players with huge overall ratings. I look at bars, and I get plenty out of them. I don't think he's going to have a problem defensively. The thing that disappoints me with him is he stayed with that smash mouth. If he'd have gone to West Coast, even spread or Earhart Perkins, even balanced, anything that kind of gives that quarterback a little boost, a little more attention to the passing game. I think he'd have seen an increase in offensive production. Staying with smash mouths, I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, does he really have a running back that he can bang 400 times into the line? I mean, that's a smash mouth offense. I don't think he has that.
No, this is
No,
his
he's
running
got-
back.
Yeah, he's got Torfy. He's got Torfy. He's rated 70. He's got more than enough stats to get shit done.
He's got the offense. He's got the offensive line. Look at his
Okay, but
offensive line.
If you're going to run Torfy like that, then why'd you draft those receivers as decoys? I don't know. I'm still disappointed. I'd be happier if he'd have done something different offensively as far as the philosophy. I think Paris, Grim said it best. How many years in a row can you bang that guy 500 times into the line? Because that's his offense. And he'll tell you that. He's going to run the ball down people's throats. He'll tell you that. That's what he's going to do.
I guess he's going to do
when
until
that
anyone can
stops-
stop him.
Well, when that stops, what's he going to do? Because I don't think that what's the QB's name? Borland?
Forland, yeah.
Borland? Is he capable at this stage of his career of carrying that team? I don't think so. Dropped to 51. Yeah, I don't know. I think for my money, I think you got to stay with Julio until the wheels fall off. I mean, he struggled last season, and he's talked about he didn't like this or he didn't like that about his team in the off season. But I think he's still got all the pieces and parts. And like you guys have said, his QB plays the best. You have to stay with Gothenburg as the winner. I'm going to stay with Paris at number 2. I'm going to pick Mass Louis third and Bordeaux last. I need to see. I don't know. I look at Bordeaux and at QB. What's his name? Zach.
Yeah, check. I don't know.
With that kind of quarterback, there should be more going on there offensively. I don't know. I'm not sure where we're at as far as time spent with this guy either. I mean, maybe I'm just reading too much into a vacation post, but I mean, it seems like some people spend an enormous amount of time on this game, and some people will hardly spend any. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that Julio and Jimmy Johnson are going to give plenty of time to their teams to make sure they're finishing in the top 2. And I guess the question is, I'm sure Matt's spending a good amount of time too. Is Bordeaux? I'm going to go Gothenburg, Paris, Mass Louis, and then Bordeaux. And I don't think a wild card will come from that division. I think Augusta and Harlem will be the wild cards. So you're going to have to win it to get in.
Good take, guys. That was a good take on that. You want to go into let's go into our division now.
Do we have to?
I know you hate it so much. Howie, I'll let you go first. Starting in the north.
Thanks. Oh, God, I gotta look at last year's standings here. That was another division where you guys were all you were all sitting around there. I think Iowa's going to drop. I think that Coyote Vice really built a great team, all built around cohesion. And I don't think HB Cook. I don't know if he plays that way or if he just didn't like the players. But he's kind of going through the players that he let go or released. I think that he's going to go from 9-7 to 7-9 maybe. So I see a flip flop there. Mech's always kind of the middle of the road. So I think that you guys struggled last year. You finished, 3-4, Chicago and Kansas. I don't see you guys finishing that way again. I think that it's tough. You're killing me here.
They're not even doing anything.
I know. I'd like to see you get better play out of Ladner, RZ, like you say. I think if you can get your quarterback playing with the pieces that you have now, I can see you being that number 1 team.
The big if.
It's a big if, exactly. So I'm going to say I'm going to go Kansas, Arizona, Chicago, and Iowa. I think Iowa's going to take the big drop. And I think this division is going to be one of those win it to get in. I don't think a wild card is going to come from your division. I think you guys are going to it's going to be tight, but none of you is going to break away from the rest of the conference. So that's how I go.
Grim, you can take it next since we're both in the same division.
All right. So Iowa's got new quarterbacks. So, I mean, I thought about trading for Dandrin, but that Cinch Rush is garbage. So I couldn't do that. He's going to be a sack machine. Who's his other guy? Ramon Patterson. Surprisingly, Jops let him go because, he's been playing all right the last couple seasons. But again, the Cinch Rush, but that's two new quarterbacks, so his passing cohesion just drops. So I see him taking a dive. Arizona, man, to me, mech is mech. And he just traded his best wide receiver. So now I don't know who the fuck he's going to throw to. So,
yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, so I don't know what that was about. And then people are like, Jugs was questioning why OBX would even trade for this guy when they already got 260 rated guys. And I am going to comment on that when we get to that division, because I see what he's doing. I mean, his quarterback's only got a couple of years left. But then I think Red Zone takes this thing. I do, just because of the changes, and Ladner's still rated good. You got a little struggle at wide receiver, but guys that, are going to fit your scheme. And plus, you still got Graham Sawyer. And if you can get him rolling, 100 catches, maybe 1,500 yards, I think you're good as gold. Who's your running back? McLaren. He still got the little low on endurance, but.
I picked up Griffin. I think he's going to be a nice number 2 back.
Picked up Griffin. Sammy Griffin, there he is. Yeah, he could be decent. Good power inside. Decent hole recognition. But then now if we go look at Clay's team, man, I don't know how you're going to do it with Edwin McConnell.
Yeah.
And you don't. And then Andy Benson, I mean, good enough, good hole recognition, not a great endurance. Third down running's good, but he doesn't have the breakaway speeds. So that's going to be tough. You really don't got any tight ends or any wide receivers. Well, no, he's got Bryson Zimmerman, but fuck, he's getting old. Only had 4 touchdowns last year. I mean, you're going to have to pick that up somehow.
Musial dropping is going to be a real problem.
Right. I mean, back to Iowa, I still say they got a pretty good defense. I mean, they're getting a little thin on linebacker, but everywhere else is solid. And that secondary is beast. I mean, he's kept the secondary intact from when Coyote Vice built, And I want to just check out Clay's entire roster here. Yeah, and Clay, you've been building up your O-line the last few seasons, and you said you were doing as much. So, hopefully that pays some dividends here soon, because they are pretty good. You did pick up Walt Simmons this year. Are you going to start him, or are you starting Carlson?
No, Carlson's been doing well for me.
Okay.
He only had 6 sacks last year, 38 blocking.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. He's not exactly a great run blocker, but that pass blocking is, I think, key for centers, man.
Mm-hmm. So if he had 12, like the year before, definitely I would have Simmons in. Simmons is just for backup for me.
Yep. Then your D-line's solid. Your linebacker's a little waning. Cornerbacks you're a little soft on. Got a good safety. But, yeah, so, I mean, I think RZ wins this one. Then I would probably go, I don't know, man. Iowa, after I think Iowa does drop a little bit just because they're switching quarterbacks. And then I think Kansas and Arizona round up the bottom. Like I said, I don't know what you got planned, Clay, but just with that quarterback and some of the other problems, I don't see you making the playoffs this year. I mean, obviously in a few years, But that's my take on it, I guess.
Yeah, I got to agree on that one. What's that?
I was going to say, don't listen to him, Clay. You're the man. You can do it.
Hey, I'm just being fucking honest here, man.
No, I agree. Not with this quarterback who lost ratings, and not with the receiver that I thought was going to do well for me. So I see myself. I see red zone, Chicago taking it. I think Red Zone can turn around his game planning that he's been working on, and he can get Ladner to start doing something with his tight end. He's got the strongest team in his division. Iowa, still a strong team. I think they'll come in second. They'll fall a little bit because he's playing around with his roster, but he's trying to figure out his roster, so he's just going to fall a little bit. Arizona has been getting good players, but he's been training them away as well. So the cohesion keeps going back and forth with him. So I think him and I, like Grim said, we're going to share. I think I'm going to land with 6-10 again, because my quarterback situation and that wide receiver that I lost in this draft didn't do it for me. So, I can have the best offensive line, but it doesn't do any good if I don't have any quarterback. That's why I see it. That's exactly how it's going to go. Red Zone?
Well, I'm going to buck the trend here. I have the advantage of knowing H.B. Cook pretty well. And he's probably still, I guess he's right around 2 years. He's been playing the game. So he's still relatively new. But he has jumped inside this game and learned a lot. And he's an incredible game planner. And he knows how to use his players and the bars they have to fit his game plan, I think, as good as anybody I've seen. And that's saying something. I realize that. I think that he was thrilled to see the cohesion in Iowa that was already started for him, and he's planning to finish it. Some of the players that were there, the talent didn't match what I think he wanted, and he's made some changes with them. I don't know how much that'll actually hurt him. I think the QB he picked up, I was kicking myself. He signed him right before training camp, and I didn't see easily release him, or I'd have jumped on him just to keep him from having him. I didn't like to see him picking Dandrin up. The fact that he has no sense rush, his offense isn't a downfield passing game. I don't think that's going to hurt him much. We'll see. The guy last year had no sense rush either. I'm trying to think of his name. He signed somewhere else as a free agent, but I think he had either a 10 or 12 or maybe even another 0 sense rush bar. So that hasn't changed a whole lot for him. I think he's going to take the division again. I said last season it was bad news for us when we all started struggling and he started coming on. He won it his first year. I think he wins it again. I think if, and it's a big if, Brady Ladner wakes up and I can figure out how to get something out of him, which I've struggled at least last season, and it was a little bit of a struggle the year before. The numbers weren't so bad, but we struggled. I mean, it was every week was a struggle just to get him to do anything. Other people have struggled with him. I'm not the first. I'm probably be the last because nobody's going to take him. But I think if I could get off the train, I probably would. But, the minute I did that, we wouldn't even be a contender. So, I mean, I probably am talking more than actually what I would do. He's probably going to stay here, and I'm going to have to just figure it out. I think we can finish second if I can get him to wake up. I like Mech's team, but I agree with Grim. If you want to add talent, wonderful. You want to draft players that are affinities, and he's drafted fairly well, and you're filling out the roster great. Keep some vets too, and compete. Now at some point he's going to figure out that that's what he wants to do that season. I guess we're not there yet. He's still planning for the future and putting all the pieces in place. But at some point, if he doesn't trade off his top receiver, if he keeps Brady Spencer, he's going to have the cohesion. He's going to be able to make some noise and do some damage. Clay, I'm so sorry. I love you, man. I'm not trying to pick on you or be a negative Nelly here, but I think McConnell dropping hurts you. I think Musial dropping hurts you. Andy Benson is serviceable, but he's not going to carry you. You've got one receiver, which is easy to double. I don't see tight ends. The O-line is going to be solid, but they're not, earth-shattering. They're not incredible. And the defense may be keeping you in games, but I just don't know how you're going to score points. I mean, I think it's going to be a struggle. You're going to have to get that bell cow running back or a franchise quarterback in order to take the next step. And at this point, I haven't seen that happen. I thought Musial was going to really boost you, and I thought McConnell would at least be serviceable. But when they both dropped, I think that really hurt your season.
I'll give you a 7th round for Ladner.
A 7th? Let me think about that. I'll get back to you. In the division, you want me to trade? Is that right? Didn't you say you don't trade in the division?
I don't. But if I'm giving you a 7th round, you give me Ladner, I'll happily trade.
You'd make that deal, though, huh?
Okay, guys.
I think Iowa, Chicago, Arizona, Kansas.
Okay, we're going into Howie's division. Red Zone, why don't you do this one? I know you know this division well. Outer Banks, Moontown, Capital City in Texas.
I'm sorry, I was talking with the mic off. I'm becoming a believer in Mr. Haynes. I've looked at his team and pulled up a few of his players, and I looked at his draft, and I think he's built a nice little squad there. I think he's going to be in real good shape to win that division again. I do think Howie will rebound from 7-9. I don't expect that again. And it's quite possible he could be one of the wild cards in that conference. Capital City surprised me last year by slipping a little bit. I think he'll be in the mix, but I think he's third. I think Moontown's – there's just something about that team. How did they go 8-8 when they gave up 70 more points than they scored? That's a lot of – they win the close ones, and then there's a bunch of blowouts too. I mean, that's not consistency. So that's my take. Outer Banks, Texas, Capital City, Moontown.
Yeah, I think Outer Banks definitely is taking that division. He's been building his team strong. And he just picked up another receiver, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
So he's got
once that trade goes through.
He's got two solid young wide receivers, and then he's got this next one coming out.
Is that he traded for the guy from Arizona?
Yes, he did.
Interesting.
Yes, he did.
So he's making a run right now. He's putting it all. Yeah. He paid Dylan the money. Brought another receiver in.
He has Dylan for 2 more years.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. That's exactly why he traded for that. He figured he's got Dylan for maybe 2-3 years and just add that guy in. And you got a solid set. I mean, play that. I think he's probably going to play that kid in the slots. So,
and he moved that linebacker to defensive end, and look at him.
Capital City, Bailey, his quarterback, he played him well. 27 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 93.6 quarterback rating. So he played his quarterback well. This is another division that's pretty tough. I think it's going to be Outer Banks. I don't know what happened to Howie's team. I think his defense fell apart on him, but Howie, you said you figured out your game planning, right?
Well, I mean, I think that I played from behind a lot, and that really kind of got me off of my game plan. Looking at how much I threw the ball versus how my team was built and how my game plan was built, I game planned for I think 3 or 4 different game plans, and the lowest running percentage was like 46%, 44%, something like that. And I didn't even come close to running that much. I think it's because I've gotten situations where I was behind and I had to throw the ball. So if I can avoid those situations and control the ball a little bit more, run the ball as effectively as I'd like to. I think I could improve on that 7-9. A little bit of that 7-9. I think the last I was on vacation the last week, and I think the last week of the season maybe I got in 2 exports. One was the last game of the season where I beat Outer Banks, which just goes to show if you don't put the time in and you just kind of wrecks a game plan and leave it, it's easy to lose to. So had I not gone on vacation, might I finished at 9-7 and not 7-9? Maybe, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I would have out of the playoffs anyway. I was up against the cap this season. I didn't have a lot of cap space. I wanted to re-sign a couple of guys, so I only made really 2 big signings. I added a wide receiver that had some pretty good big play potential in Schultz, but he's got a 3 in route running. So I got to try to figure out a way to get him the football and kind of let him make some plays. So we'll see if I can get him in the game plan a little bit. And then I signed a linebacker, I think Everett Burks.
Right
that guy right there. And he's got no endurance, but I like that pass, the pass rush, which kind of gives me something I don't have on my defense, which was a pass rushing linebacker. So I got to try to find ways to get him on the field and blitz. I like my DNs. Dunlap's coming off Defensive Player of the Year, so he's going to get pressure from one side. And look at my Cornell Wood is the guy I'm having on the other side. He was a 2nd-round draft pick from a couple of years ago.
Cornell Wood. What does he play?
Cornell Woods. Right defensive end.
Oh, right defensive end.
Yeah, he's got a little low on endurance, but that pass rush technique, man, that could be solid. That could be solid.
So, yep. So I think that if I can, and I don't know, I gave up a lot of big, kind of going through my logs. I gave up a lot of big pass plays. I get them. I go, from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 7 to 3rd and 5, and then I would give up 22 yards on a play. So I gotta get more of a pass rush. I think from both sides, reduce the big play, and just don't get down by 14 points, so I don't have to throw the ball all the time.
Yeah, you have 50 more points than everyone else that you've given up.
Yep.
And the only person, Moontown, which I'm shocked that they were 8-8, put up less points than you did. Moontown at 8-8 put up 279 points, which is pretty shocking that they're 8-8. But Outer Banks, 356 points. Now they're going to get this other wide receiver, which is going to give them more points. So they're going to be dangerous. I see them first. I see Capital City as 2nd, and then I see Texas as 3rd, and then Moontown following. I don't know how Moontown got themselves into 8-8, but they put it together somehow. Would they have a good running game? No.
Yeah, not necessarily, but he's got 2 really good running backs, so. And he also got rid of Blaine Sanderson this year, and he's starting that Leslie Lake guy.
That's the guy that was on
Iowa
last year.
Yep.
What's his sense rush?
Oh,
0.
Leslie.
Oh, 2.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, so he's got 2, and the new guy, Dandrin, has 0. That's what I was saying. It's not going to make any difference. It's the same QB.
Well,
it's a better QB with the same bar.
Well, Howie's quarterback, I think, was sacked 63 times. That was another thing that's been hurting you, Howie.
Yep.
Yeah, but my offensive line's not built for pass protection. It's not.
No. You should be a run-first team.
Exactly, and that's kind of the way that I try to game plan. I think that I have, 1st and 10 possession. I think I've got three pass plays slotted, and 1st and 10 earned. I might have 4 pass plays slotted, but that's not how you go through the logs, and that's not how it's playing. And I think it's not to talk about a different league, but in the TFL last night, kind of the same game plan, a game plan for a 60% run, and I had 14 carries because I got down early and I just had to throw the ball. I think the same thing happened in Texas. And like I said, Vital's got banana hands. I think he fumbles the ball every other time he gets hit. And when you're turning the ball over that much, it's hard to win football games when you can't hold on to the ball and you can't run the ball like you want to.
Yeah, and I really honestly don't think Lawrence Robledo has enough hole recognition to be a starter though either, man.
No, he doesn't, and that's kind of why I picked up the guy from Tucker. He had a little bit better hole recognition before he dropped, and my plan wasn't to draft a running back in the first round, but I had to end up having to take Norm Shaver because I had a feeling that the other guy was gonna drop, and he did, so I cut him. We'll see where Shaver shakes out. He's got good breakaway speed. He's got good speed to the outside.
Yeah, and his hole recognition. Yeah, it's good. It's 52 of 64. I mean, I'll take anything over 50, but like for Shaver though, that endurance, man, God, 29.
It's better than Luke Dunlap's zero endurance.
That's true.
Use one in one formation and one in the other.
Yep.
And I picked up a really nice. I think he's going to turn into a really nice third down back. That Phillips, what's his name there?
Journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks good. He's great receiving skills there.
Yeah. So there's the that's the third down back, and I've always been running back by committee in my backfield anyway.
Yeah,
use him
true.
on third down and 104, and take the other two and figure out the other running formations from there.
Yep. But, I mean, Robledo last year, he still averaged over 4 yards a carry. So it's not like he was terrible.
Yeah, that's
true.
He
just wasn't he wasn't getting the touches that I wanted him to get.
President, what do you think?
I already told you. Didn't I? Yeah.
I don't know. I came in late to the conversation. I was grabbing a drink.
Banks, Texas, Capital City, Moontown.
Right on.
Now we're into we got Williamsburg, Cheese, Brooklyn, Frederick.
Go ahead and go first, Grim.
Ah, Jesus Christ. So, I don't know how in the fuck Quick has that Willie Monroe playing the way he does.
I agree.
I mean, the lower bars are good. Accuracy, timing, sense rush. But the upper bars, rated 30. But who am I saying anything about? Because I play garbage quarterbacks too. So, but, God. And then, Frederick's been on the verge for how many years? And not just when Wolf took that over. Jerry Messiah seemed to have that team on the verge for Angel Henson's entire freaking career. He just could never get anything done. And again, with a quarterback like Henson, I don't understand how he's not making the playoffs every year. Because Wolf came in and hasn't really been able to do much with him either. Last year, 18 touchdowns, 17 he should have 30 some touchdowns and 15 interceptions every year. So, yeah, I think Quick takes this one. I mean, he's a threat every year. I don't see me going 10-6 again. But now, well, they're Albuquerque here, but they're still Brooklyn. He got rid of Patterson, who got him to the playoffs, but he's got like Blaine Sanderson now. So, but then again, you lose cohesion with that. Has Ted Jarvis for a wide receiver. So, I mean, to make it, and I didn't really do anything to help my team at all. I mean, I did trade for that cornerback, which was essentially my first round pick, and he panned out pretty well. So really hoping he can help us in the next couple seasons tighten up our secondary. But outside of that, we pretty much stayed the same. I was hoping the rest of the preseason would play out this weekend so I could see, who played better, Bradford or Maroney. But so far, Bradford, I think, is going to get the start again, even though he probably shouldn't, but neither should Maroney. So I'm going to go Chesapeake, Brooklyn, and then I'll probably take third, and then I think Frederick's still at the bottom because, again, you got Angel Henson. How do you not figure that out yet, And I don't know Wolf very, very well. He's only been in here for a few seasons, so I don't know, how much he game plans and pays attention every week. I'm pretty sure he puts in a file every week, or every day. But yeah, I think that's how that's going to go.
Red zone.
I'm looking at Willie Monroe. Grim, you're right. How's he doing it? I'm looking at 2 seasons. He's averaging 320 completions, 530 attempts, 60%, damn near 3,500 yards average. His average per attempt isn't great, but with that completion percentage, he's going up and down the field with a bunch of short stuff.
Well, I remember Zach a couple seasons ago praising this guy, and I think Quick kind of took that to heart and said, "Yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep starting him." And sure as shit,
43 TDs, so that's 21, 22 a season. That's not earth-shattering. 31 interceptions, that's 15 and a half, 16. I mean, if the interceptions drop and the TDs go up, and he gets that average per attempt up, he's going to be a lot higher than an 80 QBR. He's going to be up in the 90s. I mean,
right.
He's done a great job with this guy. I don't understand exactly how. Maybe he'll take Ladner for him.
Yeah, the thing is, too, it's he's not an affinity, and Quick just doesn't do that. Willie Monroe is an affinity on this team, and you never see Quick with a quarterback that is not an affinity. So that's, again, amazing that he's been able to do this.
He's getting every ounce out of this guy, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Nobody else would get more out of him, I don't think.
Look at it. He's only been sacked 20 times.
Most would play hell getting out of him what he's got out of him. I mean, that's impressive. I said last season I didn't think he was a guy that would take you to the playoffs, and he went and won the division with him. So kudos to you, Quick. I think I don't know. I have feelings both ways. There's respect for Quicksand, and there's a feeling like I know what Williamsburg puts into it. So I'm like, those are the 2 teams that stand out to me. Who's going to be 1 and who's going to be 2? Let's put it this way. I think one of them will be a wild card, so it's not going to matter. I'm going to say Chesapeake and then Williamsburg, then Brooklyn, and then Frederick. I agree with Grim. Wolf's got to figure that QB out. He's got to do it soon. I mean, that guy should give you 8 wins by himself. So I mean, and the same thing. I'm just as guilty. Ladner should give me 8 wins by himself, and he didn't. So I mean,
yep,
we're on the same page. We need to figure out our QBs. But that's how I see that division: Chesapeake, Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and Frederick. Same order. I don't know if Brooklyn will get a wild card this year. I think that's a stretch because when we get to the next division, I've got a little surprise. But I think Chesapeake and Williamsburg will be playoff teams, and probably Quick wins it.
Howie?
Oh, Piggy strong like bear.
God, don't say that, man. Don't say that.
No.
I think Mike just does it to fucking irritate me. Strong like bear. Fuck you.
I just think that I mean, you look at the defensive numbers. I mean, he's outscored his opponents by more than 100 points. His defense plays solid. He's got affinities, with the exception of the quarterback. He's got affinities up and down the line. I haven't seen his cohesion rating, but
that's up there.
I've been picking Quick for every time we do this show. I think that he's going to be one of the top guys, and I think he's going to be one of the top guys this year. I agree with Red Zone that Williamsburg will be at that number 2 spot. I think that you'll do a good job with what you have. You always do. You put the time into it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pick Frederick to be at the bottom of the division because he's got way too much talent there.
Exactly.
He's got way too much talent. And he has the potential to be the number one team if he can just get it figured out. And I think that's I think Brooklyn will be 4. I think Frederick will be 3. I think you guys will be 1 and 2. And I don't see 3 both wild cards coming out of the West. So I think that Williamsburg, you'll get the first wild card.
Well, here's hoping.
I'm also going to go with Quick. Quick, I thought his team, he put them together. I remember people laughed because if he put in that quarterback, and they're like, he's never going to take that division. But he did. He found a way of making it work. I would have said you, Grim. However, your quarterback fell. And I know you picked up a new quarterback, but you got to get him to work.
Yep.
Or else I would have thought you would have been up there right with him. For sure. But since you lost your quarterback, that's going to hurt you big time. I think since you lost your quarterback, it's going to drop you to 3rd.
Oh, I didn't lose him, Clay. I still got Bradford.
No,
he started last year.
He's just not the same. 108%. I mean, 74.5 quarterback rating, 35 touchdowns, 16. You think with those ratings he can do it again?
No, because he only threw 50% last year, and that's garbage.
And he averaged 5.65.
Yep. So, and I think a lot of that too had to do with my game plan. I mean, I wasn't targeting Franz at all, and he's my main wide receiver. So I'm changing that this year, and he should get a lot more targets. But yeah, that's why I put myself at 3rd. I mean, especially if you look at Brooklyn's defense, they're always strong on defense.
Yeah, Brooklyn, that's another good team. I like. He just can't. He can't get it over the top. He keeps going back and forth. If you look at season from season, like you think he's going to take it, and then he falls down. Like he was 8-8 there, and then he's 10-5. So he keeps fluctuating. So maybe this is a season they can come in, but I think he'll take 2nd in Brooklyn. I think Quick will take 1st, and I think Grim you'll take 3rd, and Frederick Wolf will take last. But Wolf, of course, will improve on his team record.
Yeah, hopefully so.
So that's where I see that. We're going to the West. You have something to say on the West Red Zone?
I'll start. I think
that league fell apart, by the way, that division.
Yeah, my Hanalei prediction last year kind of fell flat on its face. Apparently, you can go from 12-4 to 5-11. I didn't think that would happen in one season, but it did. Now, I thought I saw a little more of Malkpal around in the offseason. Thought he was around during the draft, if I remember. Yep. So maybe he noticed that drop in record and has put some time in to rectify that situation. But it's tough to predict whether he's going to go back up or not knowing how much he's going to be around. The team I think is the most interesting in that division is Colorado. Pizer has been around forever. I remember I believe he played in the GEFL when Yoda was the commissioner, and this had to be at least 10, maybe 12 or 15 years ago. I mean, this was a long time ago. And he's a pretty good GM, and he signed my defensive end, which God bless him for spending that kind of money because I sure wasn't going to. But I noticed some of his draft picks seemed to turn out very well, and I like what he's done with that team. Is he going to go from 2-14 to the playoffs? That might be a stretch. I think Oakland still wins it. But the problem is that the other 3 teams, I'm going to pick Fairbanks 2nd and Colorado 3rd and Hanalei last. But if Fairbanks struggles at all, Colorado could slip into 2nd place. And I think that the other wild card may very well – I think we're going to see – no, they're not going to have a wild card. I'm Howie is one and Williamsburg is the other. So no, you'll have to win that one to get in, and Oakland's going to probably win it easily. So let me back off of that statement. That's what I see. Oakland, Fairbanks, Colorado, Hanalei, and Colorado will be right with Fairbanks, maybe close enough to slip into second place. They'll be one of the most improved teams in the league.
Fairbanks has a solid tight end, and he plays his quarterback well as Hansen.
Yep.
So that's what I always look at. I always look at the team, how they play their quarterbacks. Jugs, as you see his quarterback, I think it's a 94 rated quarterback. But he also runs well. His running game is just outstanding. Look at this.
Well, that's
2,400 rushing yards, 24 touchdowns. Devin Manning.
That's the thing. We had a show. I don't know. Was this one of the ones that didn't get taped, or did the one where
it didn't get taped? No.
Said that the best defense for a running game is a better quarterback and a better wide receiver, and we all laughed. But that isn't true when you play Jug. That just doesn't work, because he runs the ball down your throat until your team is just wore out, and then he starts passing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you better be able to stop the run early, because if you fall behind, it's over. You're not going to catch him from behind very often. If he gets up 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, there's no fourth quarter magic there. He's not going to lose. He's a team that can run first and win, and there's not very many of them.
Well, look at the second running back. The second running back had 81 attempts, 702 yards, 8.67 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I just don't know how he's doing it. I mean, he's got a great O-line, but fuck, man.
He's got 2,400 yards with the other running back, his starter, 4.34, 24 touchdowns. He's also received 334 yards. So he's given him almost 2,800 yards, all-purpose yards, that running back. Just that guy alone.
Yep.
So 24-44 for Manning. And who's the other guy?
700 for the other guy.
Howard Durrell.
That's 3,146 yards rushing just from those 2 players.
Yeah. So what he did was we talked about this. He flip-flopped his quarterback and his running back kind of stats, because his quarterback Haskin, 1,800 yards.
Yes.
So basically, it's like 2 running backs together giving you that. So he says, you know what? I'm going to have my running back give me my quarterback stats instead. And that's what he's doing.
Well, pull up the team stats from last year, Clay.
Hold on.
See, Paris was the same way, 2,800 yards rushing. And then Bordeaux had 2,482. But you're talking from 24 to 34. It's 1,000 more yards he had than the third team rushing.
Okay, here we go. 34-41, 4.97. 215 yards per game.
But look at the difference between Bordeaux at 2482 and 3441. That's 1,000 yards. From first to third, the difference is 1,000 yards. Even the second place is 600. That's crazy.
That is.
The league average, what was the league average?
4.32.
No, as far as yards, it doesn't give it to you. Interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Team summary. Let's go to Oakland. Last season. Oh, you can't. Okay. I'd be curious what his opponents ran for against him. I guarantee it's less than half. If he ran for 3,400, they had less than 17. Because he gets a lead. You're not catching him. And the clock's running.
But he also, his defense, he's 292 points. So he's doing it both ways. He's doing it with his offense, who gave him 458 points per game, and his defense, 292. So his team was solid all day last year.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for someone to unseat him. You know, if he runs that same game plan with that same team, I mean, obviously T-Zac's going to have a chance. Ben's going to have a chance.
So, Red Zone, you're correct. If you go to the website, we got 2099 IHOF defensive statistics. No one could run on Oakland. Was first place, 1,255 yards.
Okay, so he outran his opponents by 2,200 yards.
Yep. Whew. Yeah, amazing.
That's insane. He didn't need to throw the ball.
No, he did not.
And a new QB and a new receiver. Sorry, Quick, that won't beat that team.
No, he's going to take that division easily, and then Fairbanks will be second. That I think, but Jugs will have it by a lot until someone can figure out how to stop his two running backs.
Well, I think Colorado is going to give him a run sooner or later, but asking him to do it this season might be a little bit early. He's made all the right moves. If you look at his team, go up and down his roster and look at the transactions for the offseason, he's made some very smart moves. He's building a team. He knows what he's doing. He's played this game a long time. Yeah, the center.
To see that.
Pull the center up again, Clay.
The one he just drafted?
Yeah, the guy he moved from guard to center.
His agility for his pass blocking is a little low.
Yeah. I bet you he's a monster run blocker.
Yeah, but you don't want him giving up sacks where your quarterback starts fumbling the ball.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We did all the teams. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, pretty much. I would just say on this division, if Melco's not so busy and gets to pay attention more, I think he can make the playoffs. I mean, I don't think he beats Jug, but I think he up there at least in second. And again, I don't know much about the new GM in Colorado. And Fairbanks is Fairbanks. I mean, they're pretty middling, you know. But outside of that, I think we're good.
All right, fellas. That was fun.
Sure was, man.
It was.
See, it's better doing it on Google Hangout.
Yeah, it works.
It's better for you because it tapes.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Let me stop it now.